Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8.6. Okay, well, let's continue this. As I was talking about towards the end of the last episode, when my transports got destroyed, my current sort of plans to move into, well, as I was saying, India is sort of the big absorber of resources that I was sort of seeing as a trap, but I was hoping to get to some of these islands and maybe even get to some of these before the Japanese do. But either way, that's sort of on hold for the time being. We're going to continue with some of the fight down here in Africa and get ready for the big push coming in spring. And I want to hit that as early in spring as I can. Is at least my goal. Okay, Army HQs have advanced. That is an army as in level, not as in compared to Air Force or Naval. Okay, so we're going to stop that. You can see it affects a lot of the HQ levels. And the big thing is delay between attacks reduced. That is of significant importance. And battleship crew training. That is also helpful. We're going to stop that. Now, it did say capital ship damage control. So we're going to do that. That will help keep the ship from sinking. Still just Barbarossa, which we're not taking. No, you don't get any landings. Get invading somewhere. Taking the enemy down. Yeah, I know you're fighting down here, but that's all you're doing. They're being attacked. Okay, well, what about my fighters? Are they not doing anything because they were... Now you intercept. Not even though they're damaged. Okay, they're going to win that. Oh, we can still bomb them. That's what they're there for. And that ended it. What about my fighters? Aren't you coming after those guys? Oh, you're already disrupted, too bad. These carrier fighters are nasty. Okay, light cruiser main armament has advanced. Panzer Grenadier HQ. Let's do armored HQs. That should give me some Yeah, we'll do this. Finland, our new allies, sure. I got so many HQs, I don't know if I'm ever going to use them all. Well, those also have these guys here. These guys here. They are combat units. Not good ones, but combat units. Now, I've been slowly reorganizing things here, getting ready, getting Panzer Corps ready and things like that. I don't think I'm going to do a special episode showing me reorganizing things, but I may do a special episode shortly before Barbarossa starts, or whatever we're going to call the invasion. Just going over so you can, clicking on the different HQs and showing how they're sort of laid out. I think that would be of interest to people. Okay. Advanced armor designs. Oh, I think it's here. Yes, okay. Yeah, let's get started on that. I'm also letting these guys heal up some here. Oh, that's getting pretty good. But now they'll be fast, so they'll be able to move rapidly. And they'll have much greater range. If I were to... I'm not going to do this, but how far... Okay, that's too far. Maybe not as far as I thought. Okay, patrol. So, but I can come over to... out to here. Come to someplace like here, and then... out to here maybe. And then back here if we want to come in here to deal with the Soviets. I don't know. We still have the coastal battleships, and here they are. These guys are going to get on board. Planers. We're going to rebase up there. Okay, and we have one here. Okay, I think most of that damage has been the fighters. Okay. No, you join in the attack. Now, Japan, we give them money for rare materials. We need rare materials, yes. Let's see how that goes. Why? Why? I know why, but why? Now, okay. See, I can't do the trade convoys. I wish I could. Because if I could designate a city here, and then designate a port there, that would be great, but can't. Yep, and our memo convoy already has one loss, so we're gonna cancel that. I don't need to keep that going. I figure if I can take a port down into here, it'll draw it out through this way. And yes, we might have heavy losses coming through here, but we'd have to see. Once Japan is at war, maybe they'd take this. But we canceled that. I know it takes a little. Okay, there it goes. It's gone now. Oh, and I just need to come back here. I want Bulgaria in the Axis. Oh, are Iran doing? They're way down here. But they're still quite a ways away, and Iraq here. Yeah. I'm also coming to a realization I may not be able to count on that in time. What we're doing with Spain. Okay, we're moving towards the Axis more than the Allies, but still quite a ways from it. Okay, we've lost a motor torpedo boat. The only problem I have with that is can't build more. They don't allow building those things, which I don't like. I think the reason they stopped them is to keep people like me from spamming too many of them and getting naval bonuses for having such a big navy when all they were okay, we're going to move you up here to be able to better. No. You're 4, so you're going to go there. And you're going to go here. So that is why I think they stopped allowing to build it. Now I would guess they can't check for capital ships or destroyers enlargers or something like that. So you can have energy. Because that is what I would want to do. Because I like using those other torpedo boats. And yes, maybe if we took more the vessels. No, I want you to go after British aircraft. Okay, Hedgehog defense. And this is for the army, which will help garrisons of various types, including just regular infantry. Morale and defensiveness. And that is good. We're going to stop that since it's just those types of units where get these, it helps everything. Could, maybe should do that to help the SS troops to be better. Yeah, let's do that. I got shot up by that fish air. Oh wow, look at all that. But we got some night fighters in. Okay, brigades HQs. Now that only really affects some of the units, not the time in between attacks. But hey, we'll take that. Okay, 2 coastal submarines. Mediterranean. Why did I click that? I clicked the wrong thing. That's what I did. I don't know why I did that. Okay, and we will give this. That's no, not donuts. Oh, okay. Let's give it to that. And we have another Jaeger division. Yay. We'll stick it instead of that. Well, yeah. Let's go all the way down here and him. R. Alright, and let's see if we can get an attacking guy. Yeah, here we go. Now, just for the fun of it, okay, so now obviously we renamed it from the historical name, but it's still an infantry division. It's a Jaeger infantry division. Okay, now let's take a look at terrain. We have some Jaeger units down here, 2 in there, one there. We're dealing with all this. The other area is it's really loved in the alt series, not having to fight through this crap. That's a real pain in the ass, terrain-wise. But there's a lot of this various jungle and other muck up there. So we'll send them north to there. Those are just the 2 submarines. These guys are here now, so let's go up here. Oh, okay, they made it here before these. Oh, they haven't. They stopped coming. Oh. So you move forward. You're here. Okay, good. You need to keep moving. Yeah. Jungle unit training advance, just as we're looking at Africa. And we're going to let that go. One minute. It'll help out if we start fighting in the Congo at some point. And fighting in the Congo at some point is likely. The Congo is heavy, sort of jungle type terrain. Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. Now, ground attack. Okay, mountain unit training aspects. That's good. Yeah, we're going to stop that. Let's look around. No elite commando units. Not sure what unlocked that other than maybe the time? Or have I just not been paying attention to it? And we have create the 24th Panzer Division. Let's see. Okay, well we're losing the cavalry division. Okay, that's no great loss. That's the cavalry, or a cavalry symbol for Germany. So we are motorizing the cavalry. And it's in the production queue. Yes, it's in the production queue. And let's move it to the top. Don't know if we're going to have, quote-unquote, enough, but we're going to have a lot of these heavy transports, and that will really help the supply situation. Really help it. Now I sent these guys out here. So to come out here, do passive convoy raiding there. Let's start over here so we can see where. So now we've got, because I don't know if they're like sending supplies around this way. Because, see, now they've taken out one of my convoys, or escorts or something, here. Presumably basing out of here. Because otherwise we've got pretty far, yeah, some South Africans, depends on what it is, might be in there. But we're not sinking any transports. And are we sinking all their transports here? Maybe. I mean, there's a fair number of stuff here. But that should start starving out these guys, and maybe we're doing that. But if not, then they're like looping around here, and that's sort of what I'm thinking maybe. Jungle unit command and control events. And that's another one we're going to let go since it's still... See, that's going to help light infantry march attack and defense, jungle attack of course as well, and elite light infantry and colonial light infantry, which we're using some of that. Naval infantry and marines, but we don't have any marines, at least not yet. But so that'll help a bunch of things. Well, you can stop and get a step. Come on, support, you're coming. Slow. Oh yes, I think we're gonna win this. Do even better once we get that. They're just breaking themselves on me more than anything else. Now this is just something that just hit me, and so just there at the save, I'm like, is it going to save, isn't it going to save? Taking the time, and I wonder if, so I'm using old-fashioned hard drives, which I figure many of you probably still are, but I wonder if I was playing this on a modern solid-state drive, if that would help with the crashing problems, if the speed of saving it, because obviously if it could save it 5 times, 10 times faster, that'd be a lot less noticeable. And so that wouldn't be such a thing. Let's send you over. Well, might as well get some use out of you now. Okay, so, oh good, we see we're hitting stuff here, so yeah. Okay, well let's come down here. We can send some of those back up. I want to use some of them to clean up the, help clean up the Black Sea. Hit that, load. And so if I were using a solid state drive, it'd obviously be less noticeable. The choke time, I mean, smoother play of course, which would be nice. That's not a bad thing, but that's not even what I'm worried about. I'm thinking that if whatever causes the crash, saving crash problems, if it's, sometimes obviously you can have the game 100% paused, before you do it and save it, and you might not think that that would matter. But I wonder if just having a solid state drive would help. Just a thought, not necessarily that. We demand an explanation from Jan as to why Richard Soren has been arrested. Eugene Oat, our ambassador in Tokyo, made an official protest to the Japanese government about an unjustified arrest of his friend Richard Soren. Don't know much about this. Okay, well, relations with Japan, gain dissent. Bummer, I didn't want any more dissent. No, well, I don't, but can't. Okay, Atlantic Wall Organization Toad. Reich Minister for Bewaffnung und Munitions, Fritz Todt, has recommended Xavier Deutsch, that's this guy, pictured here, to oversee the building of the Atlantic Wall. This would help protect vital ports from British raids. Franz Xavier Deutsch, serving as later head of Organization Todt, Central Office in Berlin. See, that's like I was just saying an episode or two ago or whatever. Some of these German words, just like, and you sort of look at it, Central, okay, that's central. An English speaker can figure it out. And munition, yeah, okay, munition, and me, not good at spelling, but it's about the same spelling. But Bauwaffung, but it's like production in munitions or weapons and munitions or something. So, yeah, just comments on the language. Office in Berlin, and he has worked on the Autobahn project and the West Wall. So, Xavier Deutsch, he becomes a very important person in the Third Reich, particularly at the very end, the sort of late 44 through to 45 period. He becomes very much important then. Now, don't know if that's when you want to become important, as your nation is falling apart, but and it's not necessarily for the better that he becomes important. So, and that at least was described to me as a picture of Organization Todt men working on the Atlantic Wall. And I believe it because of the side caps that they're wearing and uniform pants. So, which sort of tells me something, and I sort of read into photographs, as I'm sure you know. You have or could even be rad, but the rad's hats are different. So, and I did have a sort of a side cap, overseas cap, whatever you want to call that, too. And I've seen, yeah. So those could theoretically be rad people, but it's described as an Organization Todt project. But these are young men in 41, serving an Organization Todt as laborers. This just tells me things about what's going on within here. Presumably these men are healthy enough to be soldiers, because if they weren't, they might not be, either that or they just barely flunked, because to go out and do a lot of heavy labor, you got to sort of be, somewhat qualified to be soldiers. There's guys that have bad eyesight or maybe have a construction accident, missing a couple of fingers, that particularly in the U.S. weren't put into the army. Some of these other countries, sure, the British Army would take 1,000 guys with really, really bad eyesight, and the only way they can see is with big, thick Coke bottle glasses at the time. And they would turn them all into administrators, people back in the garrisons, doing useful work, freeing up other guys. Now, this is useful work. This isn't guys working in an automotive dealership or trying to sell ladies' shoes or vacuum cleaners to the populace in the middle of the war. It is very useful work. But it does sort of show that this is a fairly large construction and security element that that they're doing here, and the sort of the importance of it. Because like I was saying, you got RAD, Reichsarbeitsdienst, that is, the functioning halfway point between being the Hitler Youth and being in the army. And yes, as time goes on, younger and younger men go in the army, so presumably they're skipping the RAD and going straight into the army, or at least some of them are. So that's fine, because you're taking the young men, you're using them for, it depends, 6 months to 2 years, whatever, and they're doing useful labor, then going into the army when they're a bit older, bit more physically fit and able to deal with it. So it's a transition period where I'm presuming the guys going into TOTE are not later going to go into the army, so it's a different path, just a different way, and it's that. Now I do know a lot of the people that are working for organization TOTE, and it goes back to the Autobahn when it was sort of starting, is that they're contractors, and so whether as people contracting construction company or just contract labor, and so these are people that aren't members of organization TOTE that are doing the great bulk of the work. And starting in Germany, in the Autobahn and the Atlantic Wall, these are there's no slave labor, there's no prisoner work, there's nothing of that sort. It's all either people hired by organization TOTE, either as members or just contractors, or construction companies hired to do it that are hiring people. So they're paying all that through the civil economy. Now jump over to here. Well, you can't just get, well, they do get Germans out here to work, but you also need them working in German factories and such, but it's harder to hire labor that's going to mostly live at home, if you will, and commute daily out to here. So it becomes, and it's a security problem. So they do hire, and but they start hiring lots and lots of French people, or as we've seen in other countries, Norwegians and everything else. And so they're doing that a lot as well. And these other people are not wearing, unless they're actually joined the organization TOTE, and some do, are not wearing uniforms. They're just local workers. So we can do this. So we lose a lot of supplies, some manpower, some money, energy, and metal. Well, we can afford the energy and metal, even though we're sort of being bombed a little bit right now for energy. The supplies, it's meant to be a lot, and we have a lot, and I mean it to be a lot. This is not something, but because this starts the work for, and it loads in. We got a bunch of stuff here. Yeah. I think there's a, yes. So we now have this. So this is again taken from U.S. Army handbook on organization TOTE and what it was. They don't really, at least for the most part, give strengths to these groups. So I've just made them all single militias going around. And these are the construction workers and, I'm considering sort of organization TOTE members, the guys that are armed, the guys that are willing to fight, particularly against partisans. Because yes, if you throw one of these militia battalions against a stack of 6 armored divisions invading, they're going to crumble it very quickly, like they would have historically. These are guys that are, they're not soldiers. They're guys with, rifles and machine pistols, submachine guns, that kind of thing, that are, fight against the partisans, maintain security, that stuff. And if things get going bad, really being pounded, they're going to collapse. And so that's what I consider these guys. So yeah, okay. Göring meets Pétain and Admiral Darlan. Hermann Göring met Admiral Darlan and Marshal Pétain for discussions on 1 December 1941 at St. Florentin. The collaboration of Vichy with the Reich lost political significance with the expansion of the war in 1941 into the Soviet Union. Okay, well, we haven't done it yet, but Vichy tactics to gain more sovereignty by granting concessions to Germany. Germany increasingly became less relevant. Subsequently, the Franco-German high-level meetings lost importance. The meeting with Pétain yielded no results. Okay, how interesting. So we've got worse relations with them. Wolf Shanty? Or Wolf Slayer, yes, okay. Build it. 6,000 supplies, loss of manpower. Radar station, Rastenburg, anti-aircraft guns. We also get a Hitler Führer headquarters security unit out of it. January, 5% of my IC. What do I want in there? The Wolfschutz Führerbegleitet? Yeah, sort of want that. That's a garrison unit. That's Speer, that's Hitler, and that's, I don't know, some SS guy. Airbase? Maybe, but we got a lot of this. Oh, well, we don't want this. This is popping up more than it should. Rastenburg. We've got enough air bases around there. Normally I've just been saying yes to these in earlier series and creating the network of Führer bunkers. Now, lost until January 42 organization. I don't care about that because other than fighting down in Africa, I'm not doing any fighting between now and then. Well, much. So we're going to go now. Deploy flak force to Flieger Corps 10. Yes. Lose a moderate amount of supplies. Use some manpower to go into the unit and then getting the unit. Oh. Did that come into production here? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, well that's cool. Gotta ship it somewhere. Let's find it. There we go. When they get done delivering troops, we can deliver those to North Africa. West North Africa. Okay, good. That's cool. Those are almost useful units. Well, they definitely have some use, but almost useful. Wow. What do we tackle? We're Cress 4. Okay, so we'll get the Wehrkress 4. Germany loses 300 officers, 25 manpower. Now we're running low on manpower. I mean, it's not like we're scraping the bottom, but it's running low. Supplies, no problem. Gain manpower though, sort of back up in Danzig, Poznan, Krakow, and Prana. Okay, that's good in our former Eastern territories. Till the end of basically everything. I don't plan on playing past 1950. I would be shocked if we do. I'm prepared to play past 1945. I just don't know how far. We'll lose 1% ICs and whatnot. That's okay. And supplies. But we'll get some organization, manpower, plus... Yeah, okay, so we're costing us 25 manpower, but we're getting plus national manpower 1.5%, along with the... Oh, I can't point to it, sorry. Along with the gain of manpower positioned in those cities, which will also affect manpower. In greater organization, regain rate, and land organization. That's very useful. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. Okay, let's go and take a look and see. Did we got a new? Just oh, here we go. Okay, well, let's see. I like doing this. I will say I like doing this. What I really sort of don't like or worry about is your tolerance to have me look around for a fairly crappy, like this guy, to manage, to your tolerance to watch me do this. Okay, we want to go to the, where is it, here, directly to the top, because the other one is where it should be attached is full. Okay, let's find another. Wait, I'm not using him because I can use him as some sort of garrison general up in Norway or somewhere where I think he'll be a little more useful. Okay, we'll use this guy here since he's down to the bottom, up a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm getting that basically right. Those are sort of the home army, a couple of additional divisions, and we have that. So, okay, Nibelungen works. Vomag initially had 6 buildings for tank production, but in 1941 expanded again with the construction of a huge Panzerhalle, which was finally completed in 1943. Vomag initially produced the Steadcraft 9, that's sort of what I learned how to call it as a kid. Don't know if that's the best pronunciation for those initials. Heavy half-track and the Panzer IV Aust F and Aust G. Vomag became one of the largest tank manufacturers in the Third Reich. In October of 43, Vomag produced a prototype of the Jag Panzer IV in competition with the Alket and won the contract for its production. Though I will also say they produced both types. The Alket one was taller, I think, if I get that right. One of the one was a little bit taller. I think it was the Vomag that was sort of lower profile, more streamlined, if you will. Vomag solely responsible for the standard production. Jag Panzer IV, okay, although later produced a hybrid version in smaller numbers, yes. And eventually produced at least 16,000 examples of all, yes. The Alket version was a little boxier of a turret, if you will, or what they replaced the turret. I don't know which is better from the inside. I will recommend to you all, you can find it the channel, inside the Chieftain's Hatch. You can search for that on Google, inside the Chieftain's Hatch, and it's a really good series done by a World of Tanks consultant, and he goes inside vehicles in museums and examines them, and it's just really good. I've learned so much from it. And he's he has an odd accent, but he's a big American, but I don't know if he's from America, but he's an American. You don't have to be born in America to be American, but he's pretty tall for wherever he's from. And so some of these tanks, compared to a 1940s person, he's much larger, and you only need to be 6 or 8 inches larger than a 1940s person to go from being sort of a tight fit to not fitting at all. So, and he takes that into account. But sort of what is it like inside these tanks? Because I've gone to a few different tank museums and things and walked around the outside of tanks, but I've never even climbed into a Sherman. What was it like to sit in the driver's seat? What was it like to sit in the, commander's seat? Well, obviously, just watching a video, you don't quite get that, but he does a pretty good stuff. And he's a good researcher, and he researches stuff for World of Tanks, a game which I don't really play just because I got into the War Thunder first. And so he's not responsible for any of the programming, but I think he does a lot of the research behind it. So when he's talking about it, I'm sure he has notes, but it really sounds like he knows his stuff because it flows very well and he examines the stuff. So it's really good to, and we've talked about the difference between the French and German tanks. It's not all about, the caliber of the gun or the thickness of the armor. It's a lot about how well the crew can work. And so I'm learning a lot of that about it. So I don't know between the VOMAG version, which like I say is a really low profile tank destroyer. So it can hide really easy, and it can have relatively thick armor and keep the whole thing sort of light, because just keeping, I don't know, 2 or 4 inches of height lower, that would have to extend that up like 4-inch thick armor or something, and just lots and lots of weight that they can keep it all down by doing that. And presumably also by keeping it, you're down your smaller target, and if it's still the right height, you can still, peek over things and shoot reasonably well. But maybe it's god-awful for the crew inside, because sometimes some of these really good designs are just god-awful for, outside designs, are good, but the crew just suffers while in them, which can make a difference to how effective they are. But the Alket version was higher, and I don't know if Nibelungen Works, I believe, is down in this part. I don't know if it says of Germany, or Alket is up in Berlin. Most of the Alkets go to the Eastern Front, because I don't think I've seen maybe one regarding, I'm picturing one, but I don't remember whether it was which version for Battle of the Bulge. But most of the stuff in the West that I've seen knocked out and such are the VOMAG versions. And yes, as you can tell, I am a okay, it's in Linz. That's down here, Linz. Hitler's Arts City. Okay, so anti-aircraft guns and tank factory level 3 in Linz. Well, we have no tank factories, so level 3 will help out production considerably. Metal and the supplies not terribly worried about, a little bit. Sort of eating into a lot of that. And manpower, whatever. Okay, manning the guns and manning that. Okay, that's good. So we just want to major victory where? Here? Yes, I guess here we've won here. Consider a major victory. They're coming. They're almost there. We're attacking here. Their counterattack failed. They're almost there. So let's support that attack. Oh, good. Now we do have that nifty carrier air power, but let's see if we can bomb these guys. No, not a port strike. We're gonna... Okay, Witter. Yes, we'll take that. We can cut off the supply flowing in, and the units coming out. We can destroy a lot. Let's see, how are we doing here? Are you patrolling off of here to catch me? Let's go... No, I'm going to save this just because I'm going to save this. This turns out to be a big mistake. I don't want to lose my navy over it. I'm just going to move out here. See what it is that we engage. Okay, yes. I think this is going to be the end of the episode, but we can watch this battle. The Royal Sovereign, the Royal Oak, Providence, don't know that carrier. Yeah. Okay. We won, I guess. Well, I guess we won. Okay, but as I said, we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. And of course, please post comments, questions, suggestions, ideas. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.